Hello, this is Janell Shiers, the Youth and Family Director for the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, and I'm here today to read to you a book called The Blessing Jar. With all of us in the homes for extended periods of time, I just thought it would be a good reminder that when we're dealing with some things we may not be enjoying, that we can find some things to be thankful for in our day. So this is The Blessing Jar, a story about being thankful by Colleen Cobble. Punky Grace frowned as she stared out the window. It was a grumpy morning, an icky, awful morning. I really wanted to practice my dance with Kayana today. Why can't she play even if she's sick? Punky's grumpies would not go away. As soon as Punky walked into the kitchen, her grandmother noticed her sad face. Is someone having a bad morning? I'm having a grumpy morning, Grammy, an icky, awful morning. Nothing fun is going to happen today. Grammy gave Punky the, it's going to be okay kind of hug that only a Grammy can give. I know the perfect cure for the grumpies. Look what I've got here, Punky. Grammy showed her a big glass jar. It's a blessing jar. Why don't we go on an adventure today and try to fill the jar with the things that remind us of God's blessings? Punky thought about it. She did like adventures. Let's see, said Grammy. I know you like helping Mommy in the garden. Let's add a flower to the jar and maybe you won't feel so grumpy. Grammy took a beautiful red bloom and dropped it into the blessing jar. Now you remember that flowers are one good thing that God gives us. I bet I could find some more blessings, Punky said. She twirled toward her room in her ballerina tutu. I love to dance around and around and around. Is dancing from God too? Of course, God gave you healthy twinkle toes to dance on. What can we use to help remember? Said Grammy. Punky looked down at her feet. Let's put my ballet slippers in the jar after I put on my adventure clothes. As she and Grammy headed toward town, Punky began to forget how grumpy she was, especially when she saw her grandpa by the ice cream stand. She smiled as she licked the scrumptious ice cream cone he handed her. It was bubblegum flavor, her favorite, and chocolate, her second favorite, and strawberry, her third favorite. Maybe today won't be too terrible, Punky thought. Thanks for the triple dipper, Poppy. That was a yummy blessing. So she looked at the picture of the ice cream cone on her napkin and dropped it into the blessing jar. Oops, sorry about that. Jake's big doggy feet splashed in the cold water as he and Punky ran along the lakeshore. Remember to look for a blessing, Grammy called. Jake stopped and pawed at something in the sand. Look, Grammy, Jake found the prettiest shell I've ever seen, Punky said. Maybe it's a blessing from all the way on the other side of the lake, or the other side of the world. Maybe not that far, said Grammy with a wink, but it will still look lovely in your jar. When they reached home, Punky headed for a giant pile of leaves beneath the oak tree. Jake was quick to follow her over the leaves, under the leaves, and through the leaves until he was covered in orange and yellow. Grammy, doesn't Jake look silly with his fur full of leaves, said Punky. I'm putting this leaf in the blessings jar to remind me of my very favorite puppy. It was cookie time. Baking with Grammy always made Punky smile. Grammy, since Kayana is sick today, why don't we give the cookies to her? That will make her feel better. She stirred the batter and held up the spoon for Grammy to have a lick. After all, you and I make the best super-duper sugar doodles in the world. Of course we do, said Grammy. Warm blessings from the oven are some of my favorites, and giving them away makes them even more special. She smiled as Punky dropped a cookie cutter into the jar to remind her of shared sugar doodle blessings. A few hours later, the night sky was full of stars, and Punky's eyes were full of wonder. Look at all the stars, Grammy. Maybe God sprinkled sparkly sand all the way across the sky as far as we can see. Maybe he did, Grammy said with a smile. Why don't you sprinkle some sand into the blessings jar to help us remember this extra sparkly night? You are quite a star blessings finder now. Soon it was time for even the best adventurers to get ready for bed. Well, Punky, we started with a grumpy morning, but ended up with a good day, Grammy said. How about a story before we say goodnight? Punky crawled into her grandma's lap to hear her favorite story about a princess who goes on a wonderful adventure. When Grandma finished reading, Punky said, Could you put the bookmark in the blessings jar, Grammy? I want to remember this story forever and a day. Grammy smiled and tucked the bookmark among the day's other treasures.